Everyone, it's Nova Scotia Thomas again. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break to talk about Nova Scotia things, and just for this video, I'm going to go a bit of a Dhar Mann kick. So he's like a motivational speaker. He makes all these YouTube videos about things. He also had one of the things he's touched on is people who deal with learning disabilities. Now, if you ever hear my pauses, that's because I have a bit of a speech impediment. So we don't talk like this all the time. I just pause quietly. That's one of the ways I manage it. I also have learning disabilities, and I also have a bit of Tourette's. And these are things I grew up with. So I'm going to be reacting to what is apparently the most popular Dhar Mann video on his YouTube channel. Um, it's about an autistic kid. He gets bullied, and I'm going to reacting about how realistic I actually think it is, how fair I think it is, etc., and so forth. And so, yeah, you're going to get the thoughts of someone who actually has has had autistic friends and who grew up with learning disability. I'm going to tell you, say how you're going to get the inside scoop on how accurate it actually all is. So let's take a let's get going.
Oh man, we don't got all day. Hey Kyle! Hey Kyle! Isn't that the autistic kid that just transferred here? Are you friends with him or something? No. Why would I be friends with a loser like that?
Okay, so so far, I already have a comment. So a bit of a spoiler alert. Uh, the guy who just made fun of the autistic kid is actually the autistic kid's older brother, and I gotta say something. He's kind of made us like the bad guy who isn't all that understanding in this video. I If you have a sibling who has a learning disability or any disability, and you're watching this, on behalf of all the on behalf on behalf of all those who have any disabilities, thank you. Thank you for your patience. This is probably like the biggest thing I dislike about the whole video. Uh, this kid is probably sacrificing quite a bit at home every single day, and having disability doesn't just take up your whole life when you have the disability. It takes up lives of those around you, especially family, and it can be very draining. So this kid is probably lost out on chances of going to certain events because this guy here needs a bit of extra help in some areas, and I do think it's fair. Yeah, I don't want to hang out with my little brother all the time at school. I want to hang out with my friends and just have an aspect of my life that's not dominated by 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 one of my siblings' disabilities. Speaking as a guy who has a learning disability himself, yeah, I think that's fair. And that's one of the it's probably like again. So yeah, it's one of the one things I really disliked about the video. This kid is just probably is being quite supportive at home in reality, and is probably doing more than any of us would have ever imagined. So let's get going.
Does it look like I asked you? Just be quiet. I know what I'm doing. But I can help you get out of it. Look, I don't need any help from some autistic kid, alright?
People with autism can actually be quite smart, and as for a number of disabilities,
Yes.
yeah,
Checkmate.
that is actually true.
I won.
Uh,
What? But how? I told you that was gonna happen. Just stop. You're not smart enough to understand how chess works. Now get lost.
Autistic people generally are actually smarter than average. In particular, not that it's not true with every disability, but
Then.
yeah.
That's correct. Well done. Now, the next team to get one right gets the extra credit.
I remember doing this in school.
Who should we choose to go? Me. No. There's no way you're gonna get it right. You probably don't even
Why are
know
the two siblings in the same
kindergarten math.
class? They're different ages.
Set. Have you decided?
Yes, I'll go.
Ready? Set.
Okay, I just have to say, it is understandable that if he wants his own life outside of school, at school, he doesn't have to be obnoxious about it. Uh, just have to say that there. That being said, the knowing little siblings can insert themselves into the other one's life a lot, whether or not wanted. That's not a disability thing. That's just sibling thing.
Go. Stop acting lying. If I can't solve it, there's no way you can.
See? Yeah. That's correct. Well done. Your team gets the extra credit points for the next test.
Dang, this wasn't fair. I don't know how we're gonna win. We've got special needs Sam on our team.
Okay, I actually have to say this now. Maybe this may be a cultural thing. I've actually found that when you explain disabilities very early on to students, um, most of them are actually can be pretty understanding. Like I was bullied for some things when I was in school, even elementary school. Um, Not for just being having a learning disability though. Like I was never. The only time I was ever actually made interestingly enough, the only time I was made fun of for having a disability was Tourette's. And that was in a school for people with learning disabilities. So maybe this is like I know he's based out of California. Maybe it's like a regional thing, but I know my personal experience for me. Again, I cannot speak for everyone, but yeah, apparently they explained my dis. I have a disability, why I flooded my eyes, why I stuttered. And I was actually currently I was not even known as the kid with a disability. I was known as a really smart kid apparently. But yeah, like I almost learned how to read, but yeah, I actually was never really. I was bullied for being religious, or just being the younger kid versus the older kid sort of deal, but not for being a disability. So I'm not sure how common this is for. So if you've had a disability and been bullied, comment below, or if hey, or if you've never had it happen to you and have disabilities, uh, and thought anyone was supportive, comment down below. I'd love to hear what everyone else's experience was like this was with this growing up.
Yes. Tie game. Next point wins.
Come on, huddle up, guys. Okay.
My ankle. It really hurts. I need to sit this one out. Sorry, guys.
Man, now what? I can play.
No, Sam. Go away. You'll make us miss for sure.
But I've been practicing. I'm really good. I promise.
Well, we do need another player. I'd rather play two.
Okay, I'll just say this: people with disabilities, we're like everyone else. We don't want to be included in absolutely everything, but we're like everyone else. Like not everyone wants to be on the football team. Not everyone wants to be a spelling bee champ. We often have our own interests. Now, I guess now Dhar Mann is trying to now Dhar Mann is trying to like represent all people, all disabilities at once. So it is a little over the top that this kid seems to be great at everything. But yeah, like I said, there are people with disabilities, autism, etc., and other disabilities who are great at sports, great at chess, great at general factual knowledge, great at music, so on and so forth. Um, yeah. So yeah.
Come on, Jacob.
something?
No, I have no idea who he is. But I'm a nobody.
Oh yeah,
Autistic kid will never be able to do the things that normal kids can. So why don't you just get out of here? Special needs Sam, Kyle.
yeah. I'll say this: if someone had done that to me in elementary school, I've gotten in touch with some of them. Um, if if the there are certain some of the students. Um, how would I want to put this? I gotten the impression from some of them that either if the teacher hadn't got involved, there probably would have been some students who would have done something about that. Like that is like uh, again like that is just not acceptable behavior. And like yeah, even growing up with me, I'm not a kid anymore. It was a long time ago. It's maybe a regional thing, but like stuff like that was not acceptable. Was not considered acceptable by any stretch.
How could you say that to Sam? I was just joking. Mm-mm. In my classroom, now.
Yes, we are waiting for you in room 111. Great. Your mother is here.
Hi, I'm so sorry.
Okay, this is probably accurate, but I also have to ask this question: why are the other kids there? They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything wrong. Uh, again, when I grew up in schools, it was like collective punishment, and like one kid got in trouble, sometimes the whole class would get in trouble. It's yeah, if yeah, that's just totally unfair. But I have to say, it probably it was accurate to how things would have been handled when I was in school. So I guess it's still going on.
Please.
Kyle, what did you do this time? Nothing.
Well, he called Samuel here.
This time, yeah, even the bullies shouldn't have been. I don't like humiliating them in front of their friends or anything like that. Even the school bullies, I don't think it's right.
Special needs Sam at recess, and then wouldn't let him play with them.
How could you?
Yeah, he doesn't have to let anyone play with them. Maybe I'm was like really old school strange, but like yes, not everyone wanted to play with me when I was in elementary school, and that's life. Yeah, that's fine. Get over it. Maybe I'm weird for thinking that, but he can hang out with who he wants to. Doesn't have to hang out with everyone all the time. Uh,
You do that.
that was
To
kind of
your
obnoxious
own
of him.
brother. Brother? So disappointed in you. What? It's not my fault he is autistic and has a disability.
Is that what this is about? Honey, autism is not a disability, it's just a different ability.
Okay, pet peeve number one for people with learning disabilities. Excuse me one moment. I need to borrow something. Ah, here it is. I need to do this for a moment. Thank you. Okay, so people with learning disabilities have learning disabilities. That's what it is. That's why it's called a disability. Uh, I assure you, me being the last to learn to read in class and not being able to learn to read like everyone else did at the same speed as them was not an advantage. I had to work twice as hard to do half as much, and it was freakishly exhausting. I could not, every Tuesday, I had to have an extra hour of school one on one with a tutor just to learn basic reading and writing. I couldn't just go home and watch TV. And believe me, there were cartoons I wanted to watch as a kid. That was not an advantage. I get why she's saying it. I look. There are certain disabilities. OCD, love it. It's very easy to twist in your favor. But while it's true that disabilities can be twisted in your favor, it is also, and I get that we don't want to no one wants to stigmatize people with disabilities. I have a disability, don't want to be labeled, have my entire life labeled and defined by it. That being said, uh, disabilities are disabilities. That's what they are. And it's and you have to find a lot of workarounds to do it, um, and workarounds to manage it, and it can be quite frustrating. Now, by the time you get to my age, you've it's kind of like ins and outs. This is just like living day to day, using those workarounds. You just sometimes you have to accept there are certain things you're not going to be able to do, or it's just going to be harder and more exhausting and more time consuming, and you're going to have to deploy more resources than other people or someone else would than someone else would. But yeah, disabilities are often disabilities. They don't. But yeah, like I know I'm getting on a rant here, but like this is like my main peeve. Um, it's like it's one of my main peeves of people who try to defend poor people with disabilities. It's like the biggest thing they get wrong. It's like the because it invalidates all the work we put in. It invalidates our reality. We need to reality of what we live with every single day. Uh, so yeah, that's just kind of one of my pet peeves. Again, don't write us off either, but it does mean it is a disability is a disability, and what it means is not that we're worthless, not that we are capable of anything, but it does mean that for a lot of things, uh, we we're going to have to work harder than everyone else, and sometimes yeah, sometimes it's a trade off. Sometimes we get to be better at some things than other people, but it can be but it is a but it can be a dis but I insist that I believe calling disabilities just that disability.
Sam is not any less capable than you or I.
In that sense,
What are you
yes.
talking about? Of course he is. Well, you'll see. Starting today, I want you to include him in every activity. No way! That's so unfair! Oh, well, it's either that or be grounded for a month.
Okay, I think it's a fair punishment if he was not being such an obnoxious jerk. I would say if he was not being such an obnoxious jerk, I would say all the time, every day was a bit much. But sorry, you can do your own thing, but you don't have to be a total jerk about it.
So, what's it going to be? Fine.
Kyle sinks in his chair so upset that he now has to include Sam in everything. The next day, Kyle is playing chess again during recess and doesn't know what move to make. When Sam offers his advice again, Kyle hesitates. But remembering the words of his mom, he takes Sam's advice and ends up winning the game.
Yeah, like the artistic people in particular can be extreme geniuses. And from my personal
And
experience.
then in class, another math competition takes place. Except this time,
Math is
Kyle
my Achilles
chooses
heel,
Sam
actually.
to go answer the last problem.
History and geography, I'm a genius though. But yeah, like people
Sure
not
enough,
just autism.
Sam ends up getting it right and wins it for his team.
Yeah, people not just with people with autism, people with other
Kyle
disabilities
starts
can be
to see
brilliant
how
as well.
capable Sam really is. And then, as if Kyle needed any more confirmation, came the basketball match.
Yes!
I know
Next point wins.
Come
I
on,
know
guys.
people with disabilities who are great at athletics. Sometimes I know there are people that can't do well academically, so they just throw themselves into
We can't lose again like
athletics.
yesterday. I can't play. My ankle's still not 100%. Sorry. What are we gonna do now?
Even if he sucked, we probably
I've
would have
got
just
an
put him in. Even if he
Hey,
totally
Sam.
sucked.
Wanna play with us? Yes.
That's why I was a stereotypical nerd. I couldn't. I had zero hand-eye coordination at that age. Yes. I've known people who have learning disabilities or autism, and I've seen them thrive, absolutely thrive in each every one of those fields. Sometimes they've just learned workarounds, and they just go at it so much and use the workarounds to such an extent that it actually becomes even easier than just doing it the normal way. Uh, so you learn all these tricks just to get by, and you end up doing better than most. And that's not uncommon or unheard of. But yeah, this is actually pretty accurate. Yeah, except for the fact that he's doing it for absolutely everything. Like I said, like it's like you get like one or two of those things, two or three of the four of those things maybe, but like everything is a bit much. Doing it, being excellent at everything all the time is, and have a learning disability, or even if you don't have a learning disability, is a bit much. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty accurate.
You made it! You did it! You know, Mom was right. Autism isn't a disability.
Yes, it is.
It's just a different ability.
It can be
Good evening,
trade off, but it is a
Northern
disability.
Illinois.
Just like most disabilities, just like most disabilities. Especially if you have like, yeah.
Hey, Dhar Mann, check out.
But yeah, like it's a disability is a disability. It is autism and other learning disabilities. Speech impediments, Tourette's they are disabilities. They're not life ruining. There's no way to move on from this disabilities, but but it does take lot of work, and even though it can be in some cases a trade off for some things. But yeah, overall, like Dhar Mann, if you're watching this, I'll give you an A, not an A plus though, like not an A plus. Uh, I really gotta say, like people really, it's like being having a learning disability is is a disability. Disabilities are disabilities, and it can take a lot of work. Um, it can take a lot more work than to overcome it, and the result is that yeah, if you want to know why some of those kids can be so smart, uh, here's a theory. Like growing up, I still do have the mentality of of the dumb one. I'm gonna fail the second grade like I almost did. Uh, and so like you keep on trying to prove to yourself and to everyone around you that you're actually good at something, and the end result is you end up being at the top of the class, and just because you run from you try to run away as far as you can from being at the bottom. But yeah, that does happen. Mind you, like people, mind you, there are also people with learning disabilities who are hardworking. There are people who are lazy. There are people who like sports. There are people who hate sports. There are people who are great at math. There's the ones who suck at math and great at literature, great at history, suck at it, like all across the board. It's probably the most diverse group, uh, ideologically, culturally, and with interests than anyone else. But yeah. So anyway, that's my reaction to the Dhar Mann video. I hope you all liked it. Feel free to comment below, and if you have a learning disability or have autism, love to hear what your experiences were in school growing up. Stay safe, everyone.